Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our June 23rd, 2026 Clover Garden Board Meeting. I am going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:34 p.m. Roll admission, please.
Roll report. We're interested to hear from your current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clover Garden School. Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. So who would like to make a motion for the agenda for tonight? Merle, second. Joel, all in favor? The agenda's been approved for tonight. Next is our minutes from May 12th, 2026. Who would like to make a motion to approve the minutes? May 12 minutes. Ms. Merle, second. Ms. Walston, all in favor? Approved. Minutes have been approved. Thank you. Excuse me. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Any public comment? Public comment. No special guests. We'll move into finances. So we have two items for finances tonight, the May 2026 budget approval and our annual budget for 2026-2027 school year. Ms. Simmons.
Thank you. The May 2026 budget, you had a chance to review. Have any questions?
Questions? Any questions? No questions. Who would like to make a motion to approve the budget for May 2026? Ms. Morrow, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Thank you. So May 2026 budget has been approved. Any questions on the annual budget? That's also in your board folder.
The annual one is not in the role.
It's not, okay.
Sorry.
I thought it was, okay.
Mr. Actually, I've been talking with Mr. Young, approved it this afternoon, but here's the final to submit to the state for him to sign for everybody or for everybody to see.
Mr. Young, do you have anything to add on the annual? Any kind of narrative?
No, it's pretty straightforward. She's done a really good job of trying to get as close as she can, given the circumstances. So it's really good. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing that.
Budget.
Mr. Young, what's the sports budget on there?
It's not gonna be on that one, Mr. Young.
Yeah, that's all here.
Would you like me to answer? That's okay.
Good. I don't
The athletics, gets 10,000. Yes, ma'am. And band gets 10,000 too.
And that's pretty much been consistent, correct, from previous years?
For the last 5 years.
Okay.
Since COVID, yeah.
You pass it down, so they can see it.
Yeah, if they have any questions or any, so thank you, Mr. Young. But I will, now that it's signed, I will put that in the board folder.
Any other questions?
I do. When you say there's 10,000 that goes to band and 10 for sports, does that go to the boosters programs and they're allowed to put it where they'd like?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a little bit of criteria that they have, but it's very reasonable.
Okay.
It's like 5% of the athletic budget.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. You what?
Do we do anything else with that or?
No. All right, who would like to make a motion for the 2026-2027 annual budget? Young, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor? Thank you. Nothing for academics tonight, correct?
No, sir.
old business, do you have a safety plan, just for information?
Just still working on it. We just had to submit our monthly fire logs for both campuses. And so we've got some training coming up in July and August. So hoping to get some information about safety grants soon. Kind of hanging tight, waiting for that budget to be released. So hopefully we can apply for those funds, but nothing new at this time.
Got any questions on regards to safety? So the committee updates, the one that I'm going to just go over tonight is just long range planning. Just to give everyone status on our building project next door. Everything is moving really, really great, schedule wise, cost wise. Contractor's been great. I believe we are still looking to have it done, finished, completed, before school starts, which is July 27th. So it have moved really quick on this project. So I just wanted to give everybody an update on that. I believe we have a meeting Friday, correct? Our OAC meeting on site. And I believe we're looking at a walkthrough. What was it, like beginning of July?
This afternoon, Eric shared that he's pushing toward July.
Like a substantial walkthrough. Okay. So we've been very pleased on this building project. Any questions regarding the building? All right. That moves us into new business. So I'm going to move the board member elections to the bottom of this list. And so I'm going to let Mrs. Rakin start her items first.
Thank you. So the first one is our parent student handbook, which we update a portion every year. We did really good last year because we went ahead and did the whole overhaul. So when legal sent us those templates, that was the plot. So shout out to the admin team for walking through that. And for you guys for your patience, because we would get done and then there would be enough. So long story short, last year's handbook was around 99 pages. This year it's about 109, 110 pages. And no major changes in the handbook. You look in your board folder, the way I have it labeled in there is when you roll through, you'll see orange highlighted material, and those are the changes or updates. And so I tried to put a little disclaimer out to the side. Most of them were, like I said, primarily minimal. There was several like legal updates they wanted us to put in there. There's something about AI they had us add. There was some conversation regarding how to communicate effectively with families and parents, and just some situations I think that have come up throughout other school systems as well. So there are a couple of legal updates about copyright law and things like that. So nothing super major, no major changes with our dress code. That's usually a hot topic. We removed piercings, I think was the only thing we took out from in there, and reminded people that we don't want to see their undergarments. I think that might have been the biggest thing in there. But feel free, like I said, peruse that. Let me know if you have any questions on that. That is not formatted, so don't go by the table of contents. I do that absolutely last. So once we get everything updated and changed in there, we'll update the table of contents last. And then this will go on our school's website.
Anybody have any questions? So this is drafted. So is this ready to go to be finalized for a vote? Okay.
And I would love to tell you, this is the last final version, but if they come up, see, we go to school before a lot of other schools. So I know last year there were several legal, and this is, the updates that are in here are as of like last week from our legal team. So that they shared that out with other schools as well. So if they come up with anything between now and when other schools start in August, there may be some slight adjustments there. But for the most part, we kind of did the hard work last year when we overhauled the entire thing. So it was very minimal.
Don't have any questions, concerns? Who'd like to make a motion for our upcoming parents student handbook updates? Ms. Gould, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? That's it for parent student handbook updates has been approved. Next one is code of conduct updates.
So we did a big overhaul on this one last year too. So there's only minor things because we did get an update from legal, on the front cover that you guys have. It shows you the page numbers that there were some changes. One of the bigger things was on page 5 where it talked about, previously it said possession of illegal substances. Well, they included for it to include vapes and tobacco in that section. So that's what we replaced, in the handbook. And then as you go through your class 1 through class 5, we had very minimal updates. One thing that we did pull from the teacher managed behaviors is where it was pretty much your third offense of a dress code violation with an automatic office referral. Typically, if a student has been out of dress code, the teacher just sends them down, they call, parent brings them their clothes, and we don't have recurrent issues. So we did remove the office referral part because we do want our kids to be in class as much as possible and to decrease the amount of disruptions to the classroom school day. However, if they're habitual offenders of the dress code, it's covered under a class 2 repeated offenses of teacher managed behaviors. So that's something that we have removed. The other thing that we updated was our violation of honor code for cheating, and for plagiarism. We removed the part that would be handled by the school level principal. The teachers have been doing a phenomenal job handling this within their classroom. What we found is, if we do have repeat offenders, that a suspension on top of the 0 was really counterproductive. So they were failing and they were getting suspended. So what we decided as a team is that would be best. They're still going to get their 0. That's a natural consequence for cheating. However, we removed the part that it would be handled by the admin, and the building level admin. It's also been added to that anytime that we have a concern where it comes to cheating or plagiarism, the parents are going to be notified in writing, and the student will have an opportunity to present their case. That's just typical protocol for what we've been doing, but we've added that verbiage into our handbooks. Class 2, there were just some shifts of numbers compared to what legal had sent us, compared to where we had some things. So if you look at class 2, we removed where it said the violation of honor code, and replaced it with minor disruptions to the learning or class or school. And then we added number 16, and this is one that the team felt was necessary to add. It was failure to demonstrate good citizenship. Our expectation is that students must behave in a way that's safe, positive, and respectful in all aspects to the school community. So we added that one to a class 2. The consequences did not change. We're still where we were at the last revision, and that was adopted in February. Class 3, we decided to split number 9 into 2 because they are typically 2 separate behaviors. Acting in a way that can cause or potential cause harm to oneself or others, that's separate from aggressive behavior. So we just made that change in this book. And we tried to define some of the issues that we had with aggressive behavior, which was including but not limited to spitting, threatening, physical harm, unprovoked pushing or shoving, verbal aggression, or throwing items at each other. So we just spelled out more specifically examples of what aggressive behavior would be. And then the numbers changed, and that was pretty much it on that one. In the class 3, legal did add a few more that we did not have in our handbook. So we wanted to make sure that we encompassed all of the revisions. We added leaving school without permission because we have had some students leave and miraculously return, and nobody knew they had left except we saw them on camera. So we added that one. And then numbers 28 through 31, those were additions that legal had suggested for us to have. Failing to report a threat to school, a threat against school personnel, or a threat against another student, including any threat made by a student. Unauthorized contact with school staff or volunteers or their family, and using intimidation, threats, or force by engaging with an employee of the school. So those are new based upon the feedback we received from legal this summer. Class 4, biggest thing, number 11 and number 12 actually moved to class 5. So that's where your number alignment changed. And then 2 additional ones were added in the revisions from our legal team this summer, which are number 19 and 20. We did change some of the verbiage in the consequence section, and we just added notify parents up to 10 days of out of school suspension with a possible recommendation, whereas before it was 10 days and recommendation. Class 5, very minimal changes. We added one that we had had before. They had actually put it in 5, so we made that switch. And those are all the notable changes that we have for updates in the third column.
AI question. When student turns in work, you check it against AI and see if it was AI generated.
A lot of our staff are using the Google option that they have, as part of what we have in school, but we don't have a separate AI checker. Some of the things that we have submitted are, we call it self-plagiarism. They had unfortunately taken the class one semester and then had to take it again a second semester, and they tried to recommit their own work. So we added that information into our handbooks as well about self-plagiarism.
Any questions? Was you foresee AI being was AI an issue last school year?
For some, yes. But it was really easily detected because we are so small, we know our students and how they speak. And we have had some writing samples previously, and when you ask them what a word means and they're not sure the pronunciation of the word, that kind of gave us a clue in that it was completely copy and pasted from AI. We're going to try to teach the children the proper way to use AI because it can be a great tool.
Yeah, I recommend to just emphasize AI being a tool, not a replacement.
It's not always correct either.
Right.
Absolutely.
Any other comments?
I'd just like to say, having those little notes and highlights on those things was so helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing that. I was able to zone right in on it, compare it. I feel like I know the handbook and the code of conduct now. It was great.
And no more changes, right?
Certainly hope not, but we'll see what the future holds. Kids are extra creative.
Any other comments? I just want to point out, thank you for taking the time to be very detailed on the code of conduct. I appreciate that very much. So who would like to make a motion to approve the code of conduct updates? Ms. Merle, second. Ms. Gould, all in favor? Approved. Next is ACC CCP revision again.
Well, things change. So we collaborate a lot with Almonds Community College. And so we took our original that we had back in 25 and 26. We looked over the past couple of years that we've had that in play, and there were some revisions necessary. As we've gone through several seasons of scheduling with our students and with ACC, we have learned that the revisions that are presented tonight are necessary to help meet the needs of the students, plus match well with both of the schools involved. We did add a couple of bullets to the original document, and you guys can see that. I just put notes in here again. 2 new bullets at the top. That's where we discussed that 3.0 in general is required for our CGS students to go. That's for juniors, sophomores, seniors. It's across the board. So that's why we put it at a bullet at the top, just to cover everybody. We did update that our sophomores, they still have the opportunity to participate in the college transfer pathway. They just have to meet the criteria that ACC has in place, which is being AIG in both reading and math. So that's why we had that big revision in the first paragraph. Sometimes less is more. And so we wanted to make sure that the verbiage was clear and that we just had the straight and narrow, this is what it is. Again, said that there looks like lots of revisions, and there were, but it's still the same things in place. Our biggest revision was the fact that we have tried tremendously hard to get our students on campus at ACC and have them here at CGS. And with our students, especially the ones that are rising juniors, they have more courses required at CGS. And so trying to work out to where they can still meet their goals of getting those college credits, plus get what they need to graduate high school. We still prefer students to take classes on ACC's campus. However, we understand that online classes are a necessity for many of our students because of the schedule that they have with us. So that was one of the bigger things, is that we're not requiring people to take them on ACC's campus. We prefer it. However, we're gonna work with them to help them reach their goal for CGS and ACC. So that was updated in each of the sections. We do have some juniors who have almost completed all their required high school courses. And so we had limited juniors to 4 courses each semester, which would be 2 each 8-week session. And if they have completed all the required high school courses, they actually can take 5 at ACC because they have to have 5 classes in order for full-time equivalency for enrollment. And so that was one of the revisions that was made. We had the part about the associate's degree while in high school. That varies from student to student. And we are finding more students who are not necessarily aiming to get their associate's degree. They just want to get some experience and figure out what they want to do. So some are starting to take more CTE classes instead of sticking with the traditional associate's in arts degree. So we have moved that to encompass all students. Those who struggle some with the courses, working with ACC, a lot of times they'll put them on an academic improvement plan, but allow them to continue to take courses or to retake courses that they did not do well in. And we had it to where if you failed a course, we were going to meet with you and potentially decrease the amount that you could take. And we didn't want to limit our students, especially they're learning how to do college and high school. And so if you make a boo-boo and ACC is going to let you fix it, we're going to support them and they're going to support us in helping you get to where you want to be. And so that's why we took out that they would be on academic probation. It's just a collaboration between the 2 schools to help each individual student wherever they are. Required courses at CGS stayed the same. The one thing that we did remove is if a student makes a C or less, they would have to take the math or the English at Clover Garden. English is a prerequisite for everything when you go to college. And so that's some of the ones of dual enrollment that we really want our students to be able to take advantage of if that's what they want to do. And so we removed that component of they have to make, if they make a C or less, they wouldn't be able to take it at ACC. And that was for English and math. Over the year, our prerequisites for moving to take what is considered English 3 and English 4, they had to have 111 and 112 at ACC. Well, ACC is like, if they don't make a C or better in that one, we're not letting them move to the next English level. And so that's why we put the verbiage in there that you have to make a C or better in English 111 and 112 to continue to progress through what would be your English 3 and English 4. And that's an ACC best practice. So we added that. And one other revision I missed in the required courses is the fine arts. We had put it in there that every year student would take a fine arts class at CGF starting in 2025, 26. What we revise is each year, because what we're finding is our kids, as they're starting to explore, they're finding a passion in a CTE pathway or in an Associates of Arts pathway that they need to be able to take those credits at ACC. And so we're not requiring them to take one every year, but they do have to take one beginning as a freshman in 25, 26 school year. So that's a state requirement. And just so you guys know, we added a link in the new one, and we've had this in place since we did a collaboration with ACC, and it's the student parent agreement for the Career and College Promise program. It really outlines the responsibility of the student and the parent, because we have limited information from ACC. We wait for them to share it with us. Depending on who the advisor is, they may or may not share at the same speed. It may be the class is already over before we find out. So we put that into place when we did the original guidelines, but I shared it in the online version that you guys have, so you can see what the agreement looks like that parents and students have to sign to be part of the CCP program.
Any questions?
A couple of clarification questions on the courses required. English, is English 1 the full year? Or is it English 1 is 1 semester and English 2 is 1 semester?
Our English 1 in there. So English 1 is your 9th grade year. English 2 is your 10th grade.
So they're all required to take 9th and 10th grade English here.
Yes.
Can I ask, how do those compare to English 111 and 112?
The English 111, 112 are the writing composition type courses at ACC. And those are very focused on how, like, your 112 is your research, your citations, that kind of thing. 111, it dabbles in the grammatical components, sentence structure, and those kind of things. So those build to when you get to English 3, which at ACC would be your American literature and English 4 is your British literature.
Okay,
So it's like your written composition components of one
Okay.
language. And ours are semester long too, so they might have English 1 first semester, and then the next school year they could have English 2 in the spring. Or the
I see. Okay, but it's
ours are still semester. long.
Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
What's the criteria for AIG?
Oh, there's lots. And so for ACC, their AIG status, that comes from whether they're identified at their home school as academically intelligently gifted. So it's pretty much, I think, of 95% or better on one of the cognitive achievement tests that they have to have. And then we have our own local AIG plan to determine their eligibility. So as long as they meet it in both, so they have to be math and reading, then that meets the criteria for ACC to allow them in as well.
The AIG is two different criteria, right? One for Clever Garden and one for ACC, right?
Well, they take what we have for Clever Garden, and as long as it's aligned with what our local plan is, and we have different data points in order to be able to become AIG, that's what determines them as AIG. Once they have that, then they're eligible to apply. So once they apply, they have to take the college placement test at ACC. They have to pass those placement tests, and there's 3 tiers in the English and 3 tiers in the math. They have to pass those before getting formally accepted. So AIG is the starting point. Then once then they can apply and then go through the ACT process. And most of our students have done relatively well.
That's for sophomores, right?
Yeah, sophomores.
Any other questions? Any questions on this side? All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve the ACC CCP revision as discussed. Second. Slang, all in favor? The next one is the 26-27 calendar revision.
It really doesn't affect our families at all. It's just the staff. But in your board folder, you'll look at the very bottom right on our, early release days. We decided as an admin team that we would rather not have a professional development day before the winter holiday break. We foresaw not having a lot of participation. So it's very minimal. We just swapped it. So now they'll have teacher work days the first couple of months of the school year, and then they'll have teacher work days the remainder. Just very minimal, but we do want to update it on the website.
Questions there? Seems like a very minor revision. I would like to make a motion to approve the calendar revision. Ms. Gold, second. Ms. Morrow, all in favor? And our staff survey results.
I'm gonna get you to just adjust your seats just slightly so you can see the board, but this is also in your board folder too. But we just want to take a moment, if you have not seen our Facebook page, we wanted to shout out some of our teachers and staff. We recognize them at the end of the school year. We like to do a luncheon all together, and then we do awards. And so that is Miss Barla Camp. She is one of our high school EC teachers. You guys saw her at the end of the year presenting. You've got Miss Bellamy here. She's got the most heart award. She is our art teacher at our PA campus. This is Miss Brooks. She is one of our ECTAs here at the high school campus. She got the Positive Impact Award. This is Mr. Harper. You know Mr. Harper. He has come to present for us before, which I don't think you're going to be surprised that he got Most Spirited. This is Miss Lassiter. She was given the Fierce and Fearless Award. This was her first year teaching. She is a 3rd year beginning teacher. So she just completed her 3rd year. And we decided to move her to a brand new grade level this past year. She moved to 5th grade math and had some of the highest scores in our building. So we definitely want to shout her out. And Miss McCoy, this is our substitute of the year. So shouting her out right there. Miss McCoy, the staff love her, the kids love her. She's working in our summer camp this summer. She's everywhere. So she's pretty awesome. So we wanted to recognize her. That is Miss Paylor. Miss Paylor received the 20 Years of Service Award. She has been a part of the Clover Garden School faculty and staff for 20 years. So we recognized her. She also received the Most Dependable Award. So if anybody knows Miss Paylor, you know that that's the truth. You can always depend on her. The Splash Award, Miss Russell, she was one of the teachers that presented to you towards the end of the year as well. She joined our second grade team mid-year around November. She jumped into our second grade team and took off running. So she definitely made a big splash in a positive way with our second grade team. That is Miss Scott. She is one of our ECTAs and bus drivers. She was awarded the All-In 100% award. She was everywhere. When I say everywhere, she had almost wheels on her shoes because she was in almost every classroom in our building at K8. So we wanted to recognize her. Miss Brooks again, this is a peer award. So this is voted on by their peers. This is not all the other awards are given by admin. These are the ones that are chosen by their partners and their peers. So out of the whole school, Miss Brooks, it was her first year with us this school year. She was voted as our 25-26 staff of the year. And then teacher of the year, if you recognize this young lady, this is Miss Nicola. She's been with us a while as well. So this is a definitely deserved overdue award. Her peers voted for her, and she is our 25-26 teacher of the year. She is one of our middle school English teachers. And then Mr. Whittington, it's hard to catch him. I had to find him because he was still working during the award ceremony. But we gave him the jack of all trades. He truly does a phenomenal job trying to maintain and do the maintenance for both campuses. That's a tough job. Everybody calls you, everybody sees you. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And it's all kinds of maintenance that he has to do. So he does a fantastic job. So we wanted to recognize
Let
him.
me add something to that, not just maintenance, but he's heavily involved in all the construction projects. So
His input is very valuable.
absolutely.
Those are the nurse.
And for-
He's an EMT, so
Oh,
I did not know.
He's literally a jack of all trades.
He fills in for that, just to add to that.
drive the school bus. Yep. I would put him in the classroom. He should be in the classroom.
On the roof. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Participates in all the crazy things we ask him to do. Hey, can you put this on the roof? Okay, all right. I'll do it. And then I think last but not least, this might be the last one in the folder, but this is Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson celebrated 25 years of service this year with Clover Garden School. We recognized her at the 25-year celebration that we had on that Saturday. But I wanted to make sure she got shouted out online as well. So she has been here since the beginning. She's phenomenal. So shout out to those amazing faculty and staff members, but I wanted to share that with you today. So next I want to go over. So we've got our faculty and staff. This was a survey we gave them around in February. So we got some feedback from our faculty and staff, and they have to fill out like a Google sheet, a Google document, and it kind of compiles this data for us. The other piece of feedback that we like to get from our faculty and staff that we just have started receiving starting in May, and I'm still getting that now, is through our summative evaluations. So they do have a lot of opportunities to be able to share feedback. I know Dr. Morris and Ms. Spencer both do exit tickets in the faculty and staff meetings throughout the year, but it's kind of like a cumulative type feedback. So what I'll do is I've got this and I'll share this, but I also in Dr. Morris and Ms. Spencer's summative evaluations with me, I go over the feedback that I got from the faculty and staff. So their meetings all come first, then I take that back to the building level admin and give them feedback on what's working and what's not working based on their feedback. So this is our survey. I just want to kind of share these results with you, and then we'll post these on our website. This kind of gives us an idea of where are areas for improvement, as well as like strengths that we're doing well in. And then we will send out here nearby soon, we will send out one to the families as well. So we do that every year too, over the summer, towards the end of the school year. So So just kind of a summary. This first question just kind of lets you know, who took this survey. So we had about 49 responses. We have about 100 employees, and we include like substitutes and before and after school workers, things like that. But I would say roughly 80-ish that are every day, so not too bad. We had about 49 responses there. As you can see, the breakdown of who kind of took it. Of course, we have more staff at K8 campus, so that's why you'll see that number a little larger. If you scroll down a little bit, have they taught in another school? It's so funny how over the years, like these bubbles have changed, these diagrams. So now more of our employees have actually taught elsewhere versus in the building for Clever Garden the whole time. This one's neat. This kind of shows you a breakdown of who all took the survey and how many years of experience they have in education. So our diagram, like I said, is kind of broken up kind of nicely between those beginning 1 to 3 year teachers all the way up to I've been teaching 21 plus years. So it's kind of neat to really see that diversity in regards to levels of education and experience. This survey here talks about what's important to you. Of course, when you wanted to work here, and you can scroll over, Brandy. What I look at is what's very important, and it kind of offsets everything else. So obviously, working at Clever Garden, they want a safe environment, right? That's super important to them. Scroll over a little bit. They want high standards for the kids. They want academic standards. They want them to be pushed. And then that focus on that individual instruction, but also that nurturing environment. So I think that really plays into that family culture and that family feel that you see and hear a lot of times. They want that environment to work in. They also are very fond of having a good, clear code of conduct. Okay, that's very important. You can't do your job if you're being distracted, and the kids are being distracted in the classrooms all the time. So Dr. Morris and Ms. Spencer and Mr. Kane and Ms. Gladden are all very busy with our code of conduct and trying to be consistent with the expectations across the board with that. And then again, you can kind of see that kind of play out. It just kind of breaks out to what's most important to them, what really isn't important. But those were some of the things that kind of stood out to us when we were looking at the survey. This one compares our school to other schools in which they have taught. So this one's kind of interesting to me. So I like to look at the red and the blue. It's better than where I worked before or about the same. And then I look, of course, at the worst. Okay, so the blues and the yellows. So blue being it's better here, and of course yellow being worse. So you will hear this again in a minute, but obviously class sizes has been a constant frustration this past school year, especially. So that I'll go with the worst first. So class sizes seems to be a pretty big frustration. There was some frustration if you scroll over towards qualifications of teachers. As a reminder, not all of our teachers have to be highly qualified, and so I think sometimes that is kind of a bugger for some folks. And then as you see, clubs was another one. And then you've heard this already, but you'll hear it again in a minute, our AIG tag program. Okay, so that has gotten a lot of kickback on, what are we doing for those advanced kiddos? So those were things that were not as good as, worse than their school previously. Then you flip it and you look at the blue. Well, what's better? Well, obviously the safety of our school, right? And when we already saw that before, that's super important to our teachers and our staff. So safety of our school is better. Scroll back that way a little bit. Right there, extra help for kids with special needs. We talk about this a lot with our EC department and how phenomenal they are. Our MTSS crew also does a lot of individualized work with our kids, of course, as well as the teachers. Parental involvement I thought was cool. That's another opportunity that was better than the places that they have been before. I'm going to take this opportunity to shout out Miss Jones and the PBC. That was phenomenal last year. She really took that, ran with it, and all the parents that participated with her, that was huge for our community, for parent involvement. And then classroom management and student behavior, even though that's still always a frustration sometimes, significantly better than where they were before. And we have heard that, in conversations with teachers before too, these kids just want to learn. I love it. They want to learn. So that makes me happy and proud. And hopefully this year's EOGs, EOCs, our work hard, hopefully will reflect that too as well. So, then we look down at this piece here. This talks about what are you satisfied with? Okay. So which of the following features are you most satisfied with? So the first piece is the people administering the school and the leadership they provide. About 83.3% of our staff members and faculty members that took this survey were satisfied. Around 56.3% were satisfied with the competitive salary and benefit structure. So if you look at our graph here, that is the lowest, with the satisfaction rate there. So that's something to definitely put on the radar. Thank you. I'm about to sit right up on the Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Vanna. The next one was work environment. They are pretty pleased with that. They're sitting around 81.3%. That makes me happy because I want you to love where you work. That's important. The kids pick up on that too when you don't like what you're doing. So work environment overall was successful and they were satisfied. Amount of paperwork was around 60.4%. Satisfied. Opportunities for